whenever like
you started the engine?
yeah, we're started, yeah, and like
Is there petrol in it?
Well, I know, but see,
Is there petrol in it? Yeah.
There's petrol in it, yeah. Oh, it's okay. So yeah, we're starting now. Welcome back. We're going to leave in the part where to fix the cameras. And no, only mess. That'll be like exclusive on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And yeah, speaking of OnlyFans, today we have Ireland's biggest OnlyFans person. It's Keith.
Hello.
I know, it's like the one thing you said don't talk about.
Yeah, get it out of the way.
Yeah. I know, Keith, this is Keith Plunkett, who's, is I pronounce your name right?
Yeah.
Are you related to Mary Plunkett? No.
I can be.
Yeah.
That's the best answer I've ever heard.
If you want me to be, I could be related to you too.
That's the best answer.
Yeah. No, we said that before we came in, didn't we?
You asked. I said your name, and he goes, "Is he related?" I was like,
Mary
I don't
Plunkett.
know. Who's Mary? Like
She's an actress. She was.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was in Glenroe, and she was in loads of other things. But yeah, she was in school with my mother.
No.
So she's your
No way.
She's your grandmother.
Oh my god, yeah. Well, my grandmother was Mary Plunkett,
Was
so
it? And was she an
she wasn't an actress. No.
No, that's bad.
Not that I know of, anyways.
Yeah.
That's bad. But yeah, Keith's actually a musician. I know him a good few years, and I stayed in his house in Dublin when otherwise I would have been on the street. That's a really sad story. Another day. No,
I'm still waiting for that money, by the way.
Oh, yeah. No, I thought it was like an act of kindness.
They don't exist. Sorry.
How much a night?
How much a night? I don't know, your standard 50 quid a night, bed and breakfast, bit of toast in the morning.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Keith's a musician, and you have lots of stuff out there. I was looking at all your videos again today. Actually, one of your songs, which is funny that this is my favorite one, that I can remember the name of like all the other ones, but can't remember the name of my favorite one, and it's one of the older ones you did. Like, it's not changed. You know the other one that I was always on to you about that I love, and I can't find it anywhere, and I want to know that you take it down or something.
I don't know, was it Until Noon?
Yes,
I think.
Until
I
Noon,
remember
Until
you sent me that on.
Yeah, why can't I find that anywhere?
I don't know, I think it's on iTunes. I think that was the only place it was put up. But
Okay, right.
yeah,
I had it before. Because I was trying to get that back, but yeah, it's a really lovely tune. There are two tunes that I'd actually listen to. Like, this is how good I think you are, is that I have like a playlist that I'd listen in the shower. It's very rare you'd listen to. But you know what I mean? Like actual songs that are like, I don't know. So there are two songs that are that would come up in certain songs that I don't know, they'd be in certain special playlists, and I really like them. And
unreal.
Yeah, all your songs are really cool as well. And what I noticed always like the video production on the what's the name of that record?
Down the Road.
Down the Road. Did they produce the videos, or is it you that produced the videos?
Well, yeah, so they sort of had a company called Frame It Productions, who were like a video company.
Okay.
And they sort of came in to do those few videos that we did. And yeah, we kind of sat down and like thought of like some video script ideas. Like they were all very like thrown together. It was like it looks nice, you know, it looks like they look like nice videos, but they were just very much like we'll walk around the town and just get random shots of stuff, or random shots of playing at gigs or whatever. But I
know what you mean. Like the production, the quality was there. But you're saying, but the thing I appreciate though with that stuff as well is like the whole thing Tarantino said is like making. He said there's no such thing as a bad movie. He said when you know how hard making a movie is, like every movie should be celebrated, and I think that's even true with everything. That's why I like those videos, is because you nearly made
Pulp
a video.
Fiction was made really quickly, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Really quickly.
No way.
Because looking at it, I always thought like he framed everything, because there are all these iconic shots that are taking reference in other movies. I said he must spend ages doing that.
The one shot.
But he didn't. I think it was like,
no way.
I forget the exact time. Was it something like a week or 2 weeks or something really quick? And,
that's insane.
But that makes sense because it's got so much energy all the time as well.
It's constantly moving.
Because he loves it that much.
Yeah, and sometimes like even what you were saying about going around like that, not overthinking it. Like you end up with something really cool.
Exactly. And like that, you could just go around, shoot random videos, and then people could think you put a lot of thought into it, and it's like you didn't actually. You just walked around. It was like Yeah,
because I kind of thought that there was one video. I don't know what song it was for, but it was there was lots of cool stuff in it where like you'd have the text, the lyrics were integrated with like, so where you would see the bus stoppers. Do you know that one? What's that? Where the text, the lyrics were placed into it.
I've completely forgot. Like I haven't looked at those videos in so many years because
you're not a fan.
I'm not. I'm not a fan of Keith Plunkett, to be honest. Like
really?
No, I really don't like those songs. Like all of those older videos and stuff.
Yeah. What about him? What do you think of him?
Oh, he's a bit weird. Always trying to subscribe me to his OnlyFans.
Always talking about himself in the third person.
Who does that? What a weirdo.
That's something I wanted to be aware of. Actually, I wanted to say that first, talking about, because like a lot of the older stuff, like the stuff is older stuff, and like when you write stuff that probably meant a lot to you at the time, maybe still does. Like, do you feel like, because time has changed, that you do feel more distant to those songs?
100%, yeah, definitely. I feel so distant from those songs that like I haven't played any of them in years. Even Change, like I know you love Change, and I do think it's a good song, like I do, but I haven't played it in years. Like I just sort of, I don't know, I kind of just fell out of that style of writing. It was more like a pop style of writing that I was doing, and I was, you know, they were, when I was putting those songs out, that was like in the middle of me trying to, you know, just find a sound, if you will, like, and it wasn't really until like before COVID that I started like sort of letting go of all like the sort of expectations and trying to sound like something or whatever, and then just started experimenting with like just more of a free way of writing. And so that's why I don't I'm in the middle of trying to I don't know if I should be saying this because I haven't really spoken to him yet, but I want to get rid of all those videos off YouTube like fairly quick, if it's possible. Because I'm hopefully going to be releasing 2 songs in the next month or so, and putting up some videos with that. And I just, you know, when in terms of like looking for gigs or trying to apply for festivals, like I don't want to put out like these new songs, and then if someone goes to search me, like they'll be coming up with like 20 videos from me like 8 years ago. And to be honest, like they're pretty cringy, like the videos.
But okay, so the first part I'll agree. I was going to argue that first, but what you said is like, you're kind of, but the part about being cringy is like, I can't argue that. I like a couple of songs, but like, you know, but for you and feeling cringy about, do you feel like though, like there's a rapper, do you know Jack Harlow? He's on top of the world right now, but he has these videos from high school where he's rapping, and it's atrocious and it's like cringy and all that, but it's fucking so cool to see what he got to. It's insanely cool, and it's so inspiring, and those videos being there are what give him where he is now so much weight.
That reminds me as well, like I remember when like Hosier first like kind of came out with stuff, I ended up just like looking up on YouTube, and like it's taken down now, but it was an old video where he was called, his name was put down as Andrew Byrne, because he's Andrew Hosier Byrne, like, and it was like him covering like Pumped Up Kicks or something, and it was just like he had like short hair, he looked really generic, and it was really strange seeing like this is where he started, and then he became like his own thing, like
that's mad, like no, it's but the only thing is like that's where I was going at first, but then I do also like, you know, booking people. Like that is true. Like people will look up your stuff, and if that style doesn't match what you are now, that might influence their decisions. I actually do understand that.
Yeah, for sure. That's a big thing. So I don't know. I guess it's just.
So when are you releasing? Do you know when you're going to bring out the transformed?
The reborn. Keith Plunkett.
Keith Plunkett 2.
Well, I'm hoping 2.0. Yeah. I'm hoping late July. Okay. I have 2 songs now that because I've got a band together now as well. I've got a drummer.
Oh, cool.
And you might have met Shane Smith.
Oh yeah. So
he's just an incredible musician, and he's got a real ear for music. So, and he's always been very supportive of me doing gigs. So he drums for me now, and I found a cellist as well. We have a cello player.
Wow. That's cool.
That's kind of like the trifecta now, is the drums, the cello, and the guitar and the singing. So we've done 2 gigs with that setup now in the last month or so. And before those gigs, we only had like probably 6 hours of rehearsal before those gigs. Well, I mean, me and Shane did a few rehearsals because we did 2 gigs before January. Like sort of streaming gigs throughout like the tail end of the lockdown, streaming sort of thing that was going on. And we did 2 gigs. So we kind of had a few different practice sessions. But with the cellist, Maeve, like we had technically 3 sessions, but like with setting up and taking down and like getting to know each other and talking. Like we really only had about 6 hours of like rehearsing. So, and then we went on to do 2 gigs with that setup, and it was like, and they were like 45-minute, hour-long sets. So there was a lot of music to rehearse in 6 hours, and
That's mad, like.
so there is like a couple of videos of that up now.
Were you nervous going on with that little, like that quick practice? Like, was
Definitely.
yeah.
Can you swear on this podcast?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I was shitting myself, man. It was like, it was, because I kind of like gigging so much in college. I kind of just got rid of that. The nerves just kind of disappeared. Like I was so used to just.
Where were you in college?
I went to Dundalk.
Oh, cool.
IT, doing music production.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And when I started with Down the Road, then in college, like we did something insane, like over 200 gigs in 2.5 years.
Whoa.
And that was like everything, like from cafes to restaurants to pub gigs, open mics.
Were you just trying to get the gigs, like just go?
Everything you can get, we were taking them, and it was like, and that's what I really appreciate about being with Down the Road, is that like he always kept me busy, you know, like it was phone calls every day, like, can you do this, can you do that?
I was going to note that, I was going to ask you about your relationship with them, because those videos have a lot of views, like for, you know, like they're obviously good at getting it out there, how, you know, and I don't know, I thought that like your videos have a lot, like it had a far reach with people. And was that the same? Were they helping you get gigs as well? Like, and
yeah, definitely. Like, because it's a strange thing. Like it's like the internet's a strange thing. Like, I mean, a lot of the videos have like, you know, a couple of thousand views, and like, you just get random people that get in touch with you and say, can you do this gig? Can you do that gig? I mean, so strange. Like, I mean, our biggest traction on YouTube, like for me, was from Georgia.
Wow.
Georgia. That's mad.
Which is weird. And that was across like most of the videos. It's like most of the views were coming from Georgia.
Georgia the state or Georgia the country?
Georgia the country.
Oh no way.
Yeah. It's even weirder. Yeah, it's even weirder.
And what's like have you any theories as to why that is, like, or?
I've no idea.
That's mad.
I've no idea. Like when you go into like the YouTube analytics, I'm not sure if they show you on the maps. They show you on the map like the countries and different countries.
For our listeners, in Belgium, Spotify Belgium is the biggest.
No way.
Which is really weird. Like, yeah.
And why do you think that is?
We know, you know one person in Belgium,
I know someone,
but that's it. Like,
and they're a hardcore fan.
They watch it.
So only one person watches, you know.
Yeah, right.
They get it up on loads of screens at once. Like, there's so many numbers.
Yeah.
And they fall asleep to it like that.
Yeah. It's kind of mad, like.
But yeah, it's strange. It's like I don't know why Georgia.
That's mad.
It was kind of scattered. Like there was other, like, you know, you see people tuning in from or repeatedly watching videos in like different countries in Africa or India and stuff, and then obviously most of it would be from Ireland, and then a good chunk from like England, and a few people from the States or whatever. But yeah, Georgia was like the hot spot. Really the hot spot for Keith Plunkett was in Georgia. I don't know why I didn't do it.
If you go over there, you're going to get mobbed. You know, I'll be like, it's Keith. There are posters of you all over the place. You're obsessed with
Plunkett mania.
Yeah. You just go over on a nice holiday and you just get attacked by everyone. Do you do, actually, thinking about that, like you've done a lot of travel, haven't you? Like, obviously, where was it? Like, I seen a story on your Instagram. Were you in the back of like an orange truck or something? Well, no, it wasn't an orange truck, but I felt like it looked like one of the trucks you'd have oranges in Mexico or something. I don't know. There was a video you were like just recording the back of it. Like, do you know what I'm on about? Were you gone traveling or something recently?
I don't know. I don't remember that video.
It was like a couple of months ago.
Maybe.
Was it Dundalk?
Yeah. You were in Dundalk.
Was it Dundalk?
Yeah. It was Dundalk.
I don't know what video you're talking about, actually.
God, I thought I replied back to you or like a message. I don't know. You were like, maybe I was looking at one of your older videos or something. I don't know. Were you not going doing loads of traveling or something?
I did like a good amount of like European traveling, but
okay. Then maybe
the only thing I can think of is the only thing that sounds similar to that would be when I was leaving Electric Picnic.
Probably was that.
3 years ago, I was working in Trenchtown in Electric Picnic, and I remember myself and Harley, my housemate, we were. Someone just gave us a lift, and they threw us in the back of their van, and like they were driving us to the entrance, whatever.
Okay, right. So yeah, that memories.
Could have possibly been it.
Yeah.
An orange truck.
No, that's my own like poetic. It wasn't. It was just probably just the back of it. Like,
I was actually sneaking into Georgia.
Yeah, with an orange truck.
That was my way of not being noticed by the crazy fans. You know?
Yeah, and but yeah, no, like Did you, when you were doing like all the traveling in Europe, I remember I'm not imagining that you were uploading like stories. You brought your guitar and you were yeah, like were you getting any gigs over there, or were you just like floating around and just moving?
I did a few random gigs. Like, I mean, the first sort of, it probably was 2018.
Yeah.
Just moving into Dublin. Then I did like an interrail for a month. And that was like, I just moved to Dublin. Like I finished college, was working in events, like in crew and venues and stuff. And then within like 6 months, I kind of had like this bit of a breakdown. I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I want to play music. That's what I want to do. But I was like, fuck it. So I didn't have any money really. And I kind of just booked a month away, and I kind of planned out a bit of a route for like a route for like 10 countries, 10 cities pretty much. And then I kind of went with no money, like literally no money. I was like, every day I was like staying in hostels, but I was just eating like rice and frozen veg, just cooking that up every day.
Eat other people's food in
Eat other people's food. Oh, sorry, I thought this was the communal rice. But no, it was weird. It was like, it was kind of, I'm not sure if it was because I was poor, I was telling myself this, but I was like, I wanted to put myself out of my comfort zone, you know.
Did you go alone? Yeah.
I went alone, just with the guitar, and I actually started off in Belgium. I flew into Brussels, stayed there for a few nights.
Were they talking about our podcast?
They were actually, yeah. They were predicting it was going to be a thing in 2020.
Is that where you hatched the dream that one day, one day I'll be on it?
One day. But no, it's good. Started off in Brussels, and I didn't have any gigs planned or anything. I was kind of just planning to go busking, and I've quickly found out that a lot of cities in Europe are very strict on busking.
Are they?
Yeah.
Like licenses and
policing it. And so I remember being in Brussels, and I wanted to busk, and somebody told me you cannot do that, like you'll get fined. That's the thing. Like that's what they said in the hostel. They're like, you know, you could play, but they're like, if a police does come up to you, like they will just fine you. They don't care if you're a tourist or if you play dumb, like they'll just fine you. So, and I couldn't even eat, so I'm like, I can't get fined for busking. But no, I did like, I think that was the first video I put up. I was doing like streams, kind of writing songs along the way.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've never done yet, but I have like 4 or 5 songs that I wrote during that. I wrote a good few songs, but 4 or 5 that I kind of finished and liked. And I was planning to do like this EP for like, you know, just like a monthly travel EP or something. And it was cool because like most of the songs were like written about just meeting random people every day at hostels. And I think I fell in love like 4 times while I was gone. Yeah. So it was kind of like each song nearly had another different girl's name.
That's what I find interesting about your stuff, like the older stuff anyway, like I get the impression it was to do with love.
Definitely, no, for sure.
Because like that was the stuff.
That was the stuff.
Love is the stuff.
Love is the stuff.
Yeah, dangerous stuff as well sometimes. But overall, it's good. But yeah, like stuff I was going through and stuff at that time was actually related to like stuff. Right. That I could nearly pick up that you were going through at the time through the songs, and that's why I would listen to them in the shower. But I had long walks, you know. That's the time when But no, like, what do you feel like? I don't know. I find it so interesting because I have wrote stuff connected to that as well. Like it's not even stuff I'd share it, but like I felt a release from it, an understanding of it. Like because I never can put like. Did you find like whatever that was for you, a connection with someone that writing it down and being able to sing about it, put stuff into perspective?
That's definitely a part of it, like for sure. A big part of it as well is like, I like sort of, sort of fantasizing about simple ideas, you know, like just meeting somebody and like that. If I met somebody, spent a night with them, like almost fantasizing about it as like this bigger romantic sort of experience, and then like putting that into like more of a story in a song. Like that's kind of a drive for me when I'm writing as well. It's that's like really you can write about very specific things that are happening to you, or you can take something little and kind of just blow it up out of proportion and make a story about it. And so those songs that I wrote on that trip, they were kind of like that. Like I met random people on different nights, and we'd spend some time together, and then kind of almost just like fantasizing about the idea that I had to go the next day, go on to a different city, and it was like almost like leaving this love behind, and what could it have been, and then writing a song about that, and but knowing right well that it was just having the crack with somebody.
Okay, but when you say like as in
fantasizing, is that the right word?
No, you are right. It's like, the right word, but sorry, go on.
I was gonna say like
romanticizing. Sorry.
Yeah, it reminds me like it's kind of similar. Like when I'm writing music myself as well, like the whole thing of it's like you take something that's real, but you like slightly exaggerate it, like make it like a bit more poetic. So like you're still not like the basis of it is still true, but like it ends up sounding like so much bigger than what it originally was.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's just it's a really cool way to experience that moment again, because it's
definitely yeah.
But that's what I want to know though, is like the fantasizing or exaggerate. Are you exaggerating it, or do you feel like when you like, if you imagine that, like you could imagine this life with that person, would you, even if you didn't write songs, you think as a person you would do that anyway?
You mean like exaggerating
because when you're
writing?
saying you're saying you're exaggerating the song, but I'm asking like, is you as a person, like, are you exaggerating it, like, or actually are you just writing about how you actually do feel as a person?
No, yeah, I think it's a bit of both. Like I think like you know
because you come across like just because it's by the tones and the lyrics and stuff and the way I connect to it, it reminds me of the way I've had experiences with love and stuff like that, and I feel like I wouldn't be like I don't know, you come across someone who that would actually be true like that.
Yeah, no, in a sense it would be like, I mean, like if you took like, for example, like the first person I met it was actually in Brussels,
Fan of ours.
night one 4 hours in, marry me. I met a girl in the hostel there, a French girl, and it was kind of like that. We just stayed up the whole night. We went out and we stayed up the whole night just drinking wine and chatting, and it was amazing. But no, you're right. It's like I was exaggerating in a way talking about it, but at the same time, you know, if she asked me to run away for a few weeks, I would have done
exactly.
that.
But
it's like
that's interesting.
Exaggerating a song is different than just like lying. Because it's like if you're writing a song about like being sad and you just write "I'm sad," then people don't want to listen to it. If you say like "Oh, the sun will never shine again" or something, then suddenly it's exaggerating it, but it's poetic. And you're getting the meaning.
Oh, I suppose because then I'm picking up exaggerating is just in its terms, like in its original sense, before like any negative connotations would have been attached to it, would have just to exaggerate something. It's not actually like, I don't know, when you hear exaggerating, because people sort of use that term, oh, they're only exaggerating. It's always used
like
with negative connotations.
it's a much less negative way. It's more like poetic.
It's just
like poetic license as opposed to exaggeration.
So by like writing loads of songs and doing stuff like that, do you learn a lot like about the craft of songwriting?
Definitely, yeah.
And like where are the common fuck ups or stuff? So,
no, for sure.
What kind of things like?
So like that, like I like that, like calling it a craft, because for me it definitely is a craft. It's like, you know, I've been writing lyrics since before I was playing guitar, really, since I was like 10. I just got obsessed with just music in general, and albums, like just obsessed with albums like as a thing that you could buy, and like you see pictures of the bands and they come with all the lyrics and stuff, and it's like every album has a story. So I got obsessed with that really quickly, and so I started like, and I remember digging out a few years ago like pages that I had from when I was like 11 writing lyrics, and it's so funny. It's so funny to read them now. It's like, but like watching that, because I've kept everything I've written, like so I've got like in my bedroom, like I got a box full of books just full of words, you know, and it's like, so it's like that, like it's watching like an evolution of your craft, and it's like you do learn. It's like you learn the way you write. You learn the way that in some sense you're always going to be influenced by other people, and you know that's how songs happen. You know, like, you know, you can't just be an original artist. It's like every artist is an evolution of like a bunch of other artists. You know,
and like every song is hands down, I think everyone could agree, every song is influenced by life itself, and artists are in life. We're all in life together as a whole. People as
precedents,
well.
like
But it's kind of like I suppose for ages, like for years, I felt like there was a formula. And in a sense there is with pop music. There's definitely a formula for like radio music, like but when it comes to being a songwriter as a whole, it's like it's definitely a craft, and it's a craft that you need to learn, and the only way to get better at it is to just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and understand the way you write and how you think. And like, so for me, like I've learned that I love, like as you were saying, Stevie, about like sort of like being more poetic by exaggerating things. Like I love that, because it's like it is exaggerating stuff, but it's like it's showing you how passionate you are about something. You know, if you're talking about love or something, and you put it in a very poetic way, it's like that's how much I feel for you. It's like I, you know, like a song that hopefully I'll be bringing out next month, The Place That Is Sweet. It's a song about love, but it comes from the side of a relationship, and the man is like, you know, beyond depressed, like beyond ever being able to heal from a deep depression, and that, you know, he once loved his wife, so much. And the first line is, "You were once to me." Oh my God.
Can't remember.
You were once to me the stars, the moon, and the trees. You were once worth more than the air that I breathe. So it's like, it's obviously exaggerated. It's like,
course,
a person cannot be worth more than your oxygen because you'd be dead. So it's like,
but it does convey.
But it conveys how much I love you.
Yeah, exactly.
I would give my life for you. That sort of thing.
That's cool. Without saying, I give you my life. Yeah.
And there's something about that makes it more accurate. I think. The fact that is that Bruce Springsteen says that thing about like 1 and 1 should not equal 2. If it does, you failed. Like where 1 and 1 has to equal 3, and that's where you are there with that. Class. Whereas you are making 1 and 1 equal 3, and that perfectly sums up what that person is feeling. I think that is class, And
that's what I love. Like, and that's sort of So I suppose I noticed with my own writing is that like I kind of like I dip in and out of like sort of talking about nature, like relating feelings and situations to nature. Like I love that. Like I love talking about, and the songs that I'm going to be releasing, you'll hear a lot of words relating to like the ocean and trees and plants and flowers and stuff, because I think, that really relates to us as people. We grow like nature.
And when you use stuff like that, like what there's a general collective sense, there's a collective understanding of the symbolism of the ocean, but there is also very personal connotations, and that's why you get people arguing over what this person meant by a song.
Exactly.
When you use very relatable but also so vague at the same time, it gives people the opportunity to get their own meaning from the
song. And that's where I was going to go with what you were saying about like how when you heard those songs that I had out and you were relating to it so much with your situation, that's what I think that's why I fell in love with music, is because like nobody listens to the same song and feels the same feelings. It's like the music that's behind it and the way the person's singing or whatever, and the words themselves will make you feel a certain way and follow a certain story, but at the same time it's
what they had, how their morning will affect the way they heard it that day.
Exactly. So it's like that's the amazing thing, is that like you can write a line and like that it could be vague, but it can't be too specific either. It can be, but when you're talking in more of a poetic sense, like it's gonna sound a bit vague. Everybody will be able to relate to that in some way. Depending how you're feeling in your life, your family, your relationships. It's like you're gonna relate to all these different random lines in your own way. And that's the beauty of music, is that like everybody relates to it in their own way, and it's like nobody hears it the same way. Like nobody feels the same feeling, or nobody thinks, because when you're listening to a song, like you're thinking about memories and stuff, like without even being too aware of it. You're listening to a song and you're just like looking out the window and you're thinking about your life and memories and stuff. But everybody thinks about a complete different train of thought when they're listening to the same song. And I think that's amazing.
And whereas you're not doing that as much with movies and stuff, because it's like whether you're getting taught, whether you visualize things in your head with those memories, or you're just getting feelings that when the person says the word cat, like, but if you say cat in the movie and there's a cat in the screen, we're all seeing the same thing.
Right.
But it's really interesting. Like,
and do you find like when you write songs, do you approach it where like you have the specific thing where like, oh, I want to write a song about this, or do you have those moments where it's like you kind of just like, where lyrics just kind of come to you and you don't fully know what it's about, but then by the time you finish the song, you're like, oh, okay, I've written it about this.
Yeah, definitely both. The latter of what you said there is a really interesting thing, and I think a lot of songwriters that we listen to and songs we hear, I think that happens more than we think it does. I think you hear a song and you hear some lyrics, and I think a lot of people would think, they put a lot of thought into that and that means something very specific. But I think that happens a lot more than people think.
I think you're right.
Where you're just writing something, or an idea comes to you, or you're looking at something and you see it in a certain way, and then you write it down, and then you put like a thought to it and a bit of a story to it. And I do that a lot as well, like, because I like to just write without music, like, or any sort of expectations really. Like I like just and that's something that I've been doing more since COVID, is just like physically writing more, and not just writing songs, but writing diaries of like memories and like that, like traveling different countries, like writing diaries of it and try to remember everything. And so I think I think that's definitely something that happens with me a lot. Like I'll just write stuff and then it will spark like an emotion in me or relate it to a memory, and then I'll start working on that and
that's really interesting,
and make it a story then that actually comes from me or so. But it also happens the other way as well, right? I specifically sit down to write about a certain situation.
Well, you're saying like you're doing all the writing and stuff like that. I'm interested in that because like and you know, not just the songs, but like that's like you're for someone doing that, like you're real introspective. Is that the right word I'm using there?
Introspective. I think
because I make up words all the time.
Yeah, like
amazing.
You're so creative.
Making
up words. That's what words.
That's what they say. The word is stupid, but we can say creative. Like,
you know, who even is Oxford? Like, why does he have to?
Exactly.
Tell you that it's a word or not? You
know? But yeah, like where's going with that? Yeah, like where, like for someone, I don't know. It's for someone even years ago. So you're doing that now, but also years ago you were writing songs about like love or connections and stuff like that. Like, where do you think that comes from? Like you know, it seems very natural to you as a person to be very in themselves, and I get that feeling off you as well. Like,
definitely. Yeah. Well, I've always been somewhat introverted. Yeah, you know, I like spending time on my own. I love socializing too, of course. Like, I love being around people, and I love having friends and things to do all the time. But I do love being on my own, and it's always been like that since I was in my teenage years. I was always, you know, interested in writing songs, and I knew you write better stuff when you're on your own and you spend time in quiet and peace and go outside in nature and just thinking, just going inwards and just like really just thinking about, you know, thinking very detailed about your memories and stuff, because
detail, that's the thing as well. There's a thing like in architecture, like God is in the detail, I think Mies van der Rohe said, so it's all about the detail. And like I'm sure that must be in your thing as well in the songwriting, that the details make the lie real or something. You know what I mean?
No, for sure, definitely.
And like
the detail makes it real. That's really interesting.
It's like what was it say? I was thinking Elvis Costello, A Good Year for the Roses, a lipstick stain still on your coffee cup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that him or is that, I can't remember. No, but it's somebody's coffee, something about the coffee that you made but didn't drink or something like that. Like this. But like it's all these details that really bring you into a scene, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
And like how do you do that? Like, or how do you knit these details in, or what?
Well, actually, interesting enough, I was looking at clips of this podcast last week, and
there's no detail here. I don't find any.
Stevie was talking about you said you kind of had this practice of where when you were to like appreciate things more and remember things better, you sort of take mental notes when you were at places, and that would help you, you know, remember detail. So that's kind of what I do with like just it's more of a recent thing last 2 years where I like write about specific memories and travels and journeys, and I think that really helps. Like when you're writing about, you know, how you felt in a certain situation, obviously you're writing like what was happening that morning or that day, and even write down every detail, like the times you were doing, like what clothes you were wearing, what you could smell from the bakery, whatever. And that in itself, just doing a few weeks of that already like makes me remember a lot more detail as well.
And do they appear in the songs then, details?
They do, yeah, definitely. Like and that's the thing, like there's a lot of very specific details in a lot of the songs that I'm writing now that's like if you did hear it, like it could just sound kind of vague to you, like as a listener, like and then you could relate it to something in your life.
But that's cool though.
But to me, it could be a very specific detail.
Sorry, go on.
Just with the diary thing, it just reminded me of like I remember watching a video before with someone songwriting, and something they did I thought was really interesting. It's something I want to do at some point as well. Is like where like, you know, something happened that they wanted to write about on the day, so they journaled it and wrote it down, but they purposely said, I'm not going to write this song yet. And then like a year later, they were like, I'm going to write down about that day now. And then they compared the day they wrote it and the memory of it. And then used that to try to write their song. And it was just, it was insane, like the details you do and don't remember. And it creates a completely different like emotion. And
that's really interesting. That's very interesting.
What I found as well, I've like I started like writing stuff a couple of years ago, like, and I wanted to write songs and stuff. How it comes out is it was sort of like the process what you're talking about, the two you were saying, like about like I was never like if there's like a good, if I get a good few paragraphs like that are like good lyrics, it always actually came from one where like some sentence will come out while I'm messing around, or like, and then I'll just be going over in the guitar like really badly on the guitar, just playing the same shit chords or whatever, and then I will be when I start, when I get into that space where I'm not thinking about playing the guitar, then I start feeling into my emotions, whether something sad or whatever I'm trying to process. That's why I end up picking up the guitar in the first place. I never pick it up when I'm happy. You know, I just don't like. And it's the best thing I've ever found, best outlet I've ever had to understand my emotions. But what happens anyway? I feel into the emotions. It gets intense, and then I start humming, and a sentence comes out, and that's it. And I can't build on the sentence, and I think, but I have to write that sentence down because I'm like, I need to make a whole song out of that sentence. So like, I think like what you're saying is like anything if I ever did expand on it, it would just be trying to bring that sentence alive.
Right.
Yeah. Rather than like, you know, now every sentence has to be the same. I don't think I'd be able to do that because that moment was so visceral that I can't go back there now because I would have to be that person then, and that's what trips me out. So if I left it for a year, and I do leave stuff for a year, and I go back and I go, what was I moaning about?
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. No, that's really interesting. Like that happens to me all the time. Like, cause you know, I write so much that like that, and I'll have like little, you know, notes or symbols that I'll tell myself that, you know, this is really important. Because I know like a lot of the stuff I write, if it's just lyrics, like I might not look at them again for weeks or months or whatever. So, and if I put like a little note saying, you know, this is really good, it's like, then like that, like it only happened the other day. I was going through all lyrics and I came across this, you know, page of lyrics and it had that little note saying, you know, cool. Don't forget this is really good. But when I read it then I was like, I could see something deep in it, but I was just like, I don't know what it is. Like I can't connect to it anymore.
You try and connect to that person again.
Yeah, you have to go back to that sort of, and I don't know. It's a strange one. Like, I mean,
sorry, what were you saying?
Oh no, just on that point. Like I think it's very strange that you can be so connected to a certain part of yourself or a certain you know, time of yourself, and it's like you can be going through so much different stuff and you could write something that means everything to you in that moment, and like that, you could be really down and, you know, really just loathing in that sadness, and you could be writing something amazing, but a few weeks later like you might look at it and it could look like someone else wrote it because it's like, did I actually feel like that? And so
it's really interesting. Like I get that with like I at the moment I actually love techno music. I love it, and I just love listening to it like with headphones, and I love actually how much like people don't know there's that cleanness of really good like there's actually way more producing gone into it and to master it like that, and I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I can't listen to it at the moment because right now I'm evolving on my own growth, like, but unfortunately memories, techno to me is attached to a time of both like lots of joy of hanging around lots of people and doing, you know, obviously being at parties where the techno would be, and but then there was also so much sadness that came with that,
right?
Like, you know, so at that time, so I can't listen to techno right now because I can't just hear the music. I'm hearing that it's that I become that person again, and it's like very hard, and I'm sure, you know, so I will someday listen to techno when I have reached that stage.
When you're ready, when you're ready to do it, and
I feel comfortable, or I fully have got over that thing, and like know that I'm no longer going to be that person again, you know. It's like you've crossed the finish line sort of thing.
Do you learn techniques or skills in that craft and from other people? Like, do you ever learn things and you go, shit, that was fucking brilliant? Or,
definitely. For sure. Like, I mean, listening to songwriters and stuff, it's like, you know, because I mainly listen to songwriters, you know, like, because I think that's the best way to do it. Like, if you want to get really good at something, you know,
like there's the penny drop on something and go, oh look, they invited a listener in, or what, you know what I mean, or what that kind of thing. Is there skills like that people, you know, when they're just like, say someone like me listening, they wouldn't notice, you know what I mean?
Right. I think there's definitely a lot of skills like in terms of the actual writing that like you wouldn't really think about when you're listening to it. It kind of just sits naturally, like rhyming techniques and stuff, like
internal rhymes and shit.
Internal rhymes, like that's one thing like I consciously try to get better at in my own writing was like, you know, having 2 or 3 words just rhyming like with another random 2 or 3 words in the next few lines. So it's like it's not just basic, you know, end of the line rhymes with the end of the next line, but like. And so I really love wordplay.
Or even the whole thing of me and you and all that kind of stuff. Or all that.
But there's, definitely like, you know, listening to other people, I'd definitely be like, you know, that's a really good technique. And you see they do it over and over again. And it's not just a matter of, a simple matter of copying it. Like you have to be able to do it, you know, you have to try it and practice it and get shit at it and then get good at it. And then,
I'm kind of actively listening to songs or something now and just thinking, what is good about this? I like it, but what is good about it?
I liked what you said when you said, like, how did they bring the person in? Like, that's our level of awareness.
I've noticed, like, the thing is, you gotta, rather than say she, he, or whatever, if you say you you brought the listener in. You know what I mean?
That's a very good technique.
Like if I said something about Stevie in a song or something, people might go, well, I don't give a shit.
I would though. I would give
apart from me, I would but like, do you know what I mean? Whereas if I say you, I'm singing to Stevie, and I say you, the other person can say, well, that's me as well.
Yeah. All the Stevies and all the everyone.
I think it varies then as well, and depending on what kind of thing you're portraying. So like, like sometimes like using like he or she or they in the song, it's like that's really good if like one side, like if you're trying to like portray like you're observing a situation that you're not fully present in, but you're just kind of you're like a spectator. But then also it's really useful for if like you're talking about something that happened to you in your past and you don't fully feel like that person, like instead of me going I did this, I can be like he felt like this, because it's like it's almost like the old me is like someone else I'm writing about.
Okay.
And it makes it easier then to relate to that person, because you're relating to a new person who's not you. Do you know?
Yeah, exactly. And you're dead right in that. Like I write a lot of songs where I talk as you, but I am talking to myself.
And
I think
as the other person talking to you,
as myself talking to me. But, but knowing right well that when someone listens to the song, they're not exactly going to know that I am talking to myself. But I think when you're into music, like you kind of like everybody does it. Like
them into the situation.
I have the closest thing that I have finished a full song that I would never like is it actually does exactly that. Where if someone, I remember God. The reason I would never put it out because it sounds like a love song like to someone or something, but it's actually a thing to me, and it's not even a love song, but it would sound like a love song to someone else.
But there you go, that's amazing. So you're writing to yourself, and if you actually put it out there, the average listener would be like, oh, this is a love song that he's writing about somebody else, you know.
That's cool.
But that technique of like, I think it's probably the oldest technique that you can do is like using like those like you, he or she, like those pronouns. It's like it can be it can be used in so many different ways like that. Like, you know, if you have a song where you're saying you know, it's like the person listening to it, you know, they will hear that, and it almost it's kind of like a little version of brainwashing. You know, it triggers them to think about a you, like it triggers them to think about, you know, because they're listening to it. It's not just them listening to the singer, it's them kind of being sung to.
I became aware of that really young though, because my name is Hugh. And I used to always think people were singing to me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I'm in a shop and they go, I will always love you. That's nice. And I was going like, what the fuck?
That's hilarious.
And like I'd hear it in a shop. I think my mother was calling me or something like that. It was you. So I noticed that.
That's hilarious.
When I was a kid. Like, it's a way of inviting the listener in.
Do you know on that as well though, and I think about it, the other thing is not like when you're saying like, the reason I don't think it's bad, like, you know, like it's nearly manipulating or something like that, is actually like, the thing is like, right, if I put out that song, for example, it's not going to sound like, why I like it is because it's the whole vague and relatability thing is like, puts into perspective, like for example, if you write a song about like a girl, right, and you're singing that, and I'm relating to that song, I'm not thinking about the girl you met, I'm thinking about the girl. So even in that like context,
I hope
like,
not, anyways.
Could be a row.
It could be, I don't know. But yeah, in that context, like when I sing a song, if I was to sing a song, if you were to put out a song and someone was to, and you were to say you, I love you, the person isn't thinking, oh Keith. Oh, that person isn't thinking Keith loves you. They're thinking the person that they're relating the song to is nearly singing it to them.
Exactly,
which is really interesting.
That's what I was saying. Like when you're listening to the song, it's almost like you're not listening to the person speaking about someone else. It's like you. It's like you're singing it in your head. You know, it's like, and that's the amazing thing about music. Is like no matter what song you listen to, that's why they're so relatable. Is because it's almost like it's tricking your brain for you to almost be singing it about somebody. It's like, and that's why it's a really good trick. Like if you're saying you, it's like the listener is going to be thinking about that you that's on their mind, you know. Or if you're talking about he or she, like again, that's like.
But he or she pulls you back a little bit, doesn't it? Like,
it kind of, but I think it then goes into like gender specific. Like if a guy is singing about a she, then I think, you know, guys will listen to that and relate to their partners more, and then that's singing about a he, you know, will sort of relate easier to women because they're thinking about the he on their mind, you know.
Or sometimes like the choice
or whoever, you know,
the choice of pronoun then as well can help like capture different emotions throughout the song. So like, for example, you could have it at the verses don't really use pronouns and they sound really vague, and then you hit the chorus and suddenly it's you, and suddenly it's like really personable, and suddenly that adds so much extra weight to the chorus. Like you see that when you analyze a few songs, you'll see like, and they might not have even done it on purpose, but like it's just like a thing that ends up making it relatable because you're like, oh, it's kind of everything's in the air, what's going on? It's like, oh, whoa, and then suddenly the emotion hits you for the chorus, then you're back into the other thing.
Yeah, definitely.
There's another thing as well. If you're doing it, like if I'm doing a building or whatever, doing it just not. There's like a big idea. Do you know what I mean? And then you try and get everything to support this big idea.
Right.
Like just say, I remember doing one where it was kind of an egg-shaped thing, and the whole thing was about the egg. You know what I mean? And I had the handrail going up the stairs in the shape of an egg. You know what I mean? And all that kind of thing. Right. It's all this kind of thing. Yeah. But to try and bang that, reinforce whatever your emotion thing that you're trying to get across in the song. So maybe, you know what I mean? What are you feeling, and what's the rhythm of that, and that is class. If some people can do that right through a song. Yeah, everything supporting that central idea.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Is cool.
Yeah, definitely.
You write songs. Hugh writes stuff in his sleep, like in his dream.
Oh, I dream of songs. Yeah,
what? And it's mad. Like he's told me before. Like,
I love it. Yeah.
What, and you wake up and you remember what you were singing or playing?
But even it down to chords. Like he'd go, oh, he'd hear this chord progression, and it's mad. Then and I'm like, whoa. And you'd be humming it to me, and it's not like a general chord progression. It's like, whoa, this is really.
But I had mad dreams like that.
That's insane.
But I have mad dreams about everything. So I can time travel in dreams and everything. I love dreaming, you know.
Yeah. That's incredible though. Like, I understand that. Like, I love it. You know, when you're doing something all the time, every day, like you do tend to dream about it. So like that has happened in the past. Like, where I've dreamt about random music and like I've woken up and like remembered it. You know, remembered the chords or whatever.
The idea of you doing all those gigs. So what was it, about 200 gigs or something like that?
In about 2.5 years. Yeah.
But like to me, that'll have your dream going.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah.
And if you do something enough, even like you can be like not really that good at architecture. Yeah. And if you do it enough, you will be good.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any magic dust on anything.
Exactly.
And like I even remember there was a guy, a mature student with us in college. Like he was terrible at the start. But because he was just kept going, he was the best, better than anyone, and he was brilliant.
Yeah.
You know,
in most situations where the person is on top, whether it's they're the best architect in the world or the best musician in the world, even though that's all subjective, but as in they're successful. Yeah. Most situations, it's often like hard work actually, or like hard work / even if you want to use the word work as it takes away the soul of it, but dedication will beat natural talent.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And all those people, the natural talent, they all say, the people I hear, they always say hard work beats natural talent, which I agree with. But the problem is they don't realize that they do have a natural talent, and that's the natural talent to dedicate themselves.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of weird in the sense that I don't necessarily believe in the idea of natural talent, because like, you know, when people say it's like, oh, like he's naturally really good at music, it's like, but you just haven't seen them build that craft.
That's true.
Yes, like when you see someone and they're like, just say someone's fairly young and like, oh, they're just naturally a really good singer. It's like, but they sang around the house every day. They sing in the shower. They even sing when they're every kids, moment of every day. So like, just because they haven't done it in a formal setting, it's not natural. They've still actually crafted that into what it is. Like,
I love the expression, what comes by nature knows no effort.
What comes by nature knows. Which, I agree with that, definitely.
You know what I mean? So I just keep drawing all the time because I like it, because I'm listening to music. Or something like that. And then go, oh, you must have put loads of work into that. If you call it work, but I was
time,
it was time, but
not work.
Exactly, It is technically practice, but you weren't like seeing it as practice.
I'm going to stick this to the end.
Yeah.
I'm going to do you proud, man. Just sweating every time.
I was kind of like off and
That's so true.
While I was drawing, you know. Even in school, I used to be drawing on copybooks while they were talking rubbish. I wasn't listening to them.
That's such a
So like my interest was just scribbling and shit. So. Well, like that thing, what comes by nature knows no effort.
Yeah.
So
everything from nothing.
Exactly.
Everything from fuck all.
Close scenes.
Our competition said that to us. Everything from fuck all.
Everything from fuck all.
Your competition, there's a podcast in turn. Everything from fuck all. Try to get him on the podcast someday, but if you're listening to this, he's expensive. We'll do the green room and ring me. But
you were probably like that as well. You're like just naturally. No, I don't mean like you're naturally just in a state of doing it. And, and that's why it keeps going, you know.
Yeah, no, for sure. Especially with guitar, like you're
working with your nature, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. You do something you love. You do it every day. Like, I mean, there's not a day goes by that I don't sit down and play guitar and write something or sing. So it's like, you know,
so cool.
I find that interesting. I hear all the time in interviews, like, and I always feel a bit funny about it. And I mean, everyone has the right to say it, but like when people get to places because they, you know, like, oh yeah, like the whole thing of overnight success takes 10 years. I agree with that 100%. I think that's true. When someone blows up, you're like, whoa, where did that person come from? Actually, they've been doing the thing 10 years. But the other thing I think, though, sort of maybe contradictory to that is those people that you see but they always go on about, oh, it's hard work and like, you know, I put in all. But like it is kind of like I always think what you're saying. But is it hard work or is it time? Because if you're successful doing the thing you love, like at the end of the day, you're not a nurse in a hospital. Like you're not a fireman who's been up all night fighting fires. Like you're successful from doing the thing you're doing. So I kind of always feel a bit funny when they say, "Oh yeah, I've spent years working so hard to get here," and I don't want to take it away from them because they have, but I don't think it's that hard if you love it. Yeah. To all those people.
Can I tease that out a little bit, actually?
Yeah, do.
I think that's a really interesting point. I think, there's like, if you do something that you love and you do it every day, but if you want to make that your job and like you don't see any other thing that will make you happy, I think that's when it becomes hard work, is because then you have expectations that I need to
that's very, very
success.
True.
And I think it's really interesting because like there's a lot of times where like, it's more mental stress that I put myself under. It's like since I was a teenager, I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to somehow make a career of playing music and writing music. So then like growing up, it's like, that's all I could think about. And it's like, there was nothing else that could make me happy. Like there's no day job that could make me happy. But there's times where I wish I just had like more of a simple mind and that I just wanted to settle down and have a family and just like that, be a firefighter or be a nurse or be whatever. It's like, if that would make me happy, I was like, at least I wouldn't have to put this mental stress on myself every night saying, what are you going to do tomorrow? How are you going to better yourself tomorrow? So I think it's not hard work in the sense where like if you love doing it, it's like you'll always do it. But I think it's the mental stress and the expectations and like always trying to, a lot of it as well is like when you grow older, it's like, I should be this far ahead by now, and it's like it's horrible, and that never goes away. So I think
especially music,
everybody has that, and everybody's disappointed with their own position. Well, not disappointed, but they think that everyone else is doing better.
Yeah,
exactly, and that's a horrible thing that comes along with.
It's not true either.
Yeah, it's never true. Because like, who is the person to get that? Do you know what I mean? If there was one.
Me.
Yeah, we all feel like you. Yeah.
It's like I remember seeing a post before because they're talking about that whole thing of like in general, like if you're any kind of artist, whether it's like film, music, any craft, like you kind of feel like you're meant to make it before you're like 30, and that's kind of like that's the cutoff point. Like, whoa, I'm not famous when I'm 30. Then people point out like all these famous directors.
Morgan Freeman's first movie was 50,
all these famous directors. I mean, they're like first movie after 30, like, or all these artists who weren't discovered until like sure, like Lizzo blew up there a few years ago. And like,
how old is she?
That was like her third album. She was like 32 when Juice and stuff came out.
Wow.
So when you look at stuff like that, it's like there's still plenty of room there. There's this, like I totally agree with you.
I would say the majority of people don't get successful till 30. Like when you look at it,
there's a thing I just read on during the week. It came up on a feed or whatever, but I've read it before. But cheers me up, like, so it's like the myth of the young entrepreneur. The young CEO, I think it is.
Yes,
and it says like you have to be. Is it 98% of them are over 48 before they start? Something like that. It's a myth. Like, so even
the
like
ones that because
so like there's like is less than 1% of them are under 48 or something like that. Like, so we all see Mark Zuckerberg and all that. But like literally you're talking about majority of people. That's just the ones we're shining the light on.
Exactly.
Like, most people aren't, like, they're
that's interesting.
Very tiny percent that are like Mark Zuckerberg. Like there's about 5 people in the world the exception of that.
In Turles, so we had Tony Ryan, who started Ryanair, which wow, I wish I could be like Tony Ryan or whatever. Our poor man has passed away now, but he didn't start working for himself until he was in his late 40s.
No way. He's Ryanair.
He set up Ryanair. So he wasn't even self-employed.
That's insane.
Late 40s.
How did you set up Ryanair?
Good question.
You built a plane.
He started an aircraft leasing company. He was working for Aer Lingus before that.
Right.
That's mad.
In his late 40s.
Right. So when did he die?
I don't know, was it 10 years ago?
Because isn't it, what's it, Michael O'Leary?
Michael O'Leary worked for him,
Right, but does he own it now or what?
He owns a lot of shares in it.
Right.
He was his accountant or whatever, So
the Ryan family still owns it.
Yeah, a lot of the Ryan family.
I always wondered where the name came from. I was like, who is Ryan?
Tony Ryan, So
only up the road.
Yeah, from Lactagala.
That's mad.
Yeah.
The thing what you're saying though, and all you're saying, that put in a lot of perspective, like I'll never that changes the next time I hear a celebrity or something like that. Like, I'll never think that again, what I was saying, because like I actually relate to that so much. Like, where like there's no job that will make me happy other doing stuff like this, and I will refuse that. I will be homeless. Then I will, like, and that's a guarantee. Like, you will see me in the streets before, like, not doing it. Like, and I've already made that commitment.
Yeah.
So that has caused stress and hard work.
Right.
And I never realized that. And then
that is the hard work, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, although I'm enjoying this and stuff, but like there is that, you know, well, it has to happen.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that can, and because it has to happen, now you have resistance.
It's like,
exactly.
It's like when you look at it without the pressure, you really see how that resonates. So it's like, for example, like if you were finding like a videography job like really stressful, but if you just took the piss and made like a piss take video yourself just for fun, just because you love doing that and you put loads of effort, that would feel nowhere near the same level of work. Or like if you write a song just for the sake of writing a song and you're not feeling that pressure that has to be good. Yeah. A lot of the time you're just like, you don't feel the stress, but when you're like, oh, I need to write a good song, then like all that pressure comes down. Like, you have that expectation there,
and you know you need to, because you need to. Yeah, that's the difference. Is needing and wanting. Is like when you get into realms like of all of us here, it's like we need to do those things. It's not that we want to. Like, there is a want, but there's the need.
But I do have to have a chat with myself every so often. Do you know what I mean? I'd say, look, output isn't what it should be. Do you know what I mean? You don't need to take another cup of coffee. You need to get up an hour earlier. You know what I mean? Yeah, you are doing what you love, but are you doing enough of it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you love it so much, why don't you do it a bit more?
Exactly. Yeah. So you do. I think everybody needs to have a chat with themselves every so often.
Yeah, no, definitely. Sure, reflection. That's another thing that, since a positive thing from COVID was like just taking time to reflect on yourself and what you're doing, and like as something like you read about all the time, like especially when you're talking about the likes of your Zuckerbergs and whatever. You always see these things about like the billionaires' mindset and what they do throughout their days and stuff. But I think like a very simple technique, which is just really good, is just like sitting down, whether it's once a week or once a day or whatever, and just reflecting on what you're trying to do. Like, and that's why I think physically writing stuff is like, it's so important, because it's like, you know, it's just when you see what's coming out of your mind on paper, it's like, and you're like, holy fuck, that's what I'm actually thinking, and that's what I'm trying to do. And it's like, I think just self-reflection is a massive thing, and it's very healthy and very like progressive in a sense. And
because I think it is the whole, like, I know it's like very a generic observation, but like the whole perceiving like Mark Zuckerberg, the thing about Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and all these people, these billionaires, that people, whatever people's opinion of them, everyone can agree that they're wealthy. The people that don't understand is not one of those people actually thought they were going to be wealthy. They were just like in their little basements, like using a computer.
Like gremlins.
Yeah. Like dark basements, and just using their computers, and like just that was their void. That was their thing to fill their void at the time, and it worked because life needed it.
And do you know what? They're probably now looking and going, "Geez, I wish I was back in that basement. That was a bit of crack, wasn't it?"
Yeah, life was simpler. They always say,
whatever. So we're in the basement now, so we should appreciate and validate
100%
that we're in the basement now. And in 20 years' time, when you've loads of money, you go, God, that was right crack back.
Right.
But you remember? It's true. Like that's what they all. Like it's so true. Like they'll go to simple. We'll be like the simpler times. When we weren't getting hounded in Belgium by all of Keith's lovers.
To go back there.
God, that was. So we hit the hour mark there.
Are you serious?
Just about to. Will we wait for it?
What?
Just
10 minutes.
No. Is there anything else to finish up? Like, what's your going forward? Like, bringing out new, like you said, you want to found a style and stuff like that, and you've started to find that. But do you have like directions? What we're talking about, like we're talking about, like, you know, do you have goals with where do you imagine yourself on a certain stage or in a venue, or are you?
See, I think growing up I had bigger goals, you know, bigger ambitions, like, you know, like that. I need to be famous by the time I'm 18, you know. And then I kind of, you know, just lost that sort of thing. I think now I kind of have more humble goals. Like I remember going to see I love a guy called Mick Flannery. Mick Flannery. I love him so much, and it's like I remember I went to see him in Westport in the town hall, and he'd sold out like 200 or 300 tickets, whatever. But he was on like in the middle of a tour around Ireland doing like these sort of, you'd call them mid-sized venues, like a lot of these town halls and stuff, but he was selling out all of them. And I mean, he could do that all year round, and people would always go to it. And like that's then when I seen that, that's when I kind of like humbled myself a little bit. I was like, if I could just do that I would be happy in life. You know, I'd be really happy if I had like a certain fan base that I could just like casually tour around, you know, throughout the year and just make my living off that. I was like,
that would be so cool.
And like, obviously I'd love to, you know, if you're at that level, like that he's at,
to grow
doing
that,
you could do that across Europe too. Like he's big in Germany too. And like Netherlands, you could do that too. So it's like, that's kind of my goal. Like, I just want to keep doing it, just keep writing, just keep getting better at songwriting. Just so release stuff pretty soon. And like,
if you got, so you just say you got, so that's like you sort of like say like you brought down, you brought your goals to a more level that you feel is more grounded to you. But if you imagine you got to that stage, you feel like you would want to go up a bit.
You'd want more.
Yeah.
Probably. But we all want more, don't we?
No, exactly.
Like,
And this is like, there's a really mad there's a weird thing. You see it in Ireland times 10, where people just can't, like, they can't, if someone wants to be famous, like, or, you know, even you saying that from a young age, that's really cool, because very few people in Ireland get to have that thought when they're young, is that they want to be famous, or that they will be, or that they have a goal, because everyone wants to be, but no one's willing to like admit it. I think the problem is, though, what I noticed, like, I don't think it's negative or any bad can come from wanting to be famous or rich. I think the negative comes if you don't know why you want to be famous or rich.
Yeah.
I never wanted to, but when I figured out the benefits and the effect that could have, now I do. Do you know what I mean? I always wanted to run into the wild alone and never talk to anyone. But then I was like, okay, I started coming from imagining a better world, and I sort of reverse engineered that. And I was like, oh, okay, like if you get into a place, a position where you can have like influence and have a positive influence, whether it's being on camera or whether having loads of money, I think both of those. And I think people should want to be famous. Good people should want to be famous, and they should want to be rich. They don't have to, but I'm saying we need more good people wanting that. They are reasons. The people who have the effect on the world, like the rich and the famous. They control, not on purpose, but they control like through you know, they have the most amount of influence on the world.
Yeah, they control culture in a sense, like unknowingly. Like, you know, if you're a pop artist and you're massively famous, it's like you are controlling the way culture's going and young people. It's like people want to listen to you, people want to see you, people want to dress like you. And that ends up, you know, celebrities then who get famous are like they like change fashion then, like by not even trying, because people just want to dress like they dress. And
and if Ed Sheeran will single-handedly, that everyone has complex lives, but will have an effect on millions and millions, a whole generation.
Definitely.
So what he sings about is very important.
Yeah, definitely.
And what he preaches.
Yeah, I mean, you see it all the time. Like, you see all sorts of, like, I mean, thousands of songwriters on Instagram and stuff, and they're just like, you know, there's a little touch of Ed Sheeran in there, and it's like, you know, that's directly where it comes from. You know, that's, it's like, cool, you know, Ed Sheeran came from a background of, you know, Bob Dylan, Van Morrison, a lot of other stuff that, I mean, you take those old people and then you mix it with, he loved Coldplay as well. That's so cool. It's like you mix all that together and you get this really unique, like, really, he had some amazing stuff when he was younger, and then he blew up, and then it's like everybody with a guitar wanted to be Ed Sheeran, and it was like, you can see that now, like, because he just got so famous and he just remained at this like incredible like just height of success. And it's amazing, like, so like, I mean, you go to Galway and you see 12 people busking on the street and they're all trying to sound like Ed Sheeran, and it's like, you know, it's such an impact on people, you know.
We're actually going to have Ed Sheeran on in a couple of weeks. I know that sounds mental, but you'll see, I swear to God, you'll see you in 2 weeks. It's been confirmed. I rang you. Yeah.
Were you chatting to him?
Yeah, I swear to God.
Nice.
You think I'm messing? You'll see a thumbnail in 2 weeks.
Well, that's exciting.
I'll explain how that happened after we stopped recording.
It's all fairly top secret.
Yeah. So on that top, sorry.
Yeah, just have to get kind of security sorted for the house.
Yeah, get those dogs back. Get that Alsatian back.
There's a lot of Belgian people outside looking for you.
Is there?
Yeah.
I'll go out this way, will I?
The Georgian people are out there.
The Belgians are
traps. This fame is not what we signed up for. I know, it's actually lonely. There's no one here for us. So we'll finish up. We'll finish up next week.
So stay tuned. Stay tuned for another 7 days.
We want to hear these songs. Like, when are we going to hear these songs?
Yeah.
So, Yeah, so basically I'm looking to...
Can we put them like... You're looking to what?
I'm looking to record them, get a studio in like... what day is today? It's like June
Saturday.
20th.
27th.
Yeah. So I'm looking at like mid-June.
Yeah, record them.
Shane's pretty busy and I know Maeve's pretty busy. So we're looking at either getting a studio or just doing a good setup in the house. And it's pretty much 2 songs that I want to do together. Like they're 2 sort of like... One of them's... They're both very dark, like very sort of based around depression and anxiety and... But one of them is like, I had to edit it down from like 9 minutes to 7.5 minutes. And, you know, it's called Cold. And it's I didn't even think I'd be playing it that much. It was one of those songs that I knew last August when we had a gig coming up that I wanted to play with a drummer and a bit of a band. So I kind of stuck with that. And now it's like, it's a dark song. It matches the other one. The place that is sweet. So I'm thinking of just recording the 2 of those, doing like a couple of videos and just doing 2 live videos like where the band are playing, but also do 2 like videos that I'm sort of just going around now on my own, just like getting a lot of footage. And
lovely.
I want to make like these really dark like
you editing it yourself and everything?
Yeah, I mean editing myself like
that's cool.
Just really basic like sort of eerie footage from like, you know,
like minimalistic,
but sort of like wide landscape shots, but in black and white. I kind of been influenced by, there's a girl called Cinderwell. She's a girl from California who's been living in Clare for the last 2 years, and she's just like, she writes a lot of like Irish stuff, real dark folk music, and it's just beautiful.
That sounds cool.
But like she put up her videos and it was just, it looks like she just did it on her phone, like just walking around the village. She lived in Clare, just getting like, you know, a shot of a church in black and white, and then like random, and it's like, it's so basic, and like, you know, it's very, you know, there was.
Do you remember No Disco? No, you're probably too young. It was.
Wait, there ain't no this ain't No Disco.
No, there was a show you used to be on Ireland. I like. Called No Disco, Donald Deneen.
Yeah, this ain't No Disco. Yeah.
That was the one we used to call it No Disco.
I love that.
That was full of those videos.
That's Miles O'Reilly.
Yeah.
He does that. And that was one thing that I was going to say, is that like, that would be a goal for me, is like, I love Miles O'Reilly's videos. It's like he gets all these incredible, like basic, but almost like eerie shots of like Dublin and towns and stuff.
But like, that was when we first heard like, Oasis and stuff like that, you know, when they were eating the bag of chips or whatever, in singing whatever, and that was a big hit. But then there was loads of other indie bands, like there was one, I can't even remember what they were called, but the song was Don't Waste Your Talent, and it was just around council estates. And that's a big scene for him. Like he does a lot of that, like just so nice.
And it's kind of just showing like real life, you know. And that's one thing Miles does really well, is that he'll see like a situation on the street, like 2 people scuffling or something, and he'll just record them.
And that'd be beautiful.
And it's beautiful,
isn't it?
There's one video he did with
and it's detailed.
Lisa O'Neill down by the docks, and she was singing a song. What's it called? Rock the Machine, and she plays it on the banjo, and it's like hauntingly beautiful. But like they show up on the docks and they're like getting set up, whatever, and it's just like this old man that walks by, and he's asking him, you know, it's like, oh, what are you doing? He's like, you in a band and stuff, and then Lisa's talking to him. She's like, yeah, we're, you know, about to record a song, whatever, and then the man's just like, he gets really sad, and he starts talking about, he's like, I think he mentions, I could be wrong, but I think he mentions that he had a wife that might have passed away or something, but. Or he just says it like straight up. I don't think he knows he's on camera, but he says it. He was like, oh yeah, he's like, I'm awful lonely these days, you know, very sad. And you could just see it in him. And like, they just put that at the start of her video, and it's like, it's a real person just coming up.
Script that.
You couldn't script it.
And the detail of it, and the wife, and the whole thing.
Exactly. Actually, I'm not sure if the wife was a thing. I think I might have just made that up. But he definitely said on camera that I'm really sad.
And because he's real, you fill in the blanks yourself.
Exactly, yeah. And it's beautiful, and I think really nice. So Miles O'Reilly has been a big influence on the kind of image I want to go for now. Like I don't like when I do videos now, like I kind of want to, I don't want to be on the shots myself, like I don't want to show myself, I don't want to show myself playing. I want to show shots of like, because I think landscape can be like so powerful, like instead of watching somebody play the song, I think if you're listening to a dark song with like this incredible like piece of landscape, like just that looks so like Achill Island or something, like it's so big and vast, and like when it gets misty and windy, it's like just a scene from Achill Island can tell everything. And it's like when you have a song playing behind that, it's like the scene of like just the mountains and the mist and the wind is like, that's backing up the story so much in the song. So that's kind of what I'm going for now, is like I want to get a lot of landscape clips and just sort of use them as music videos instead of putting myself in front of the camera
Could I do a music video for you?
Yes, please.
Because I want to do. My goal is to do 10 music videos over the next year. Since February, between which I don't think I'll be able, but in the next year, next year, 10 music videos that I'm proud of, and I've done 3, but I'm only picking one of those 3 because they're all hip hop. But I want to do different genres and different styles, and I want to try and connect to the person in that way. I know exactly, I nearly feel like I know what the song sounds like just by the shots you're trying to get. And I don't know if you're ever up for it. I'd love to do that.
100%, man. I'd love that.
Class, yeah, we should definitely do that. That'd be cool.
Because that was one thing, thinking about
I'll take an agency fee in the middle. I'll work out the contracts.
We'll work out the contracts here after the podcast. But that's kind of one thing, with videos and recording music. It's I always especially doing music production in college. I kind of gave myself this sort of idea that if I am recording music, it has to be done in a professional studio. It has to sound very clean and crisp and expensive almost. And so does the video. But now I've completely gone away from that, and I'm if the song's good enough and you just record it in your room with one microphone, it's that's enough. If the song's good enough, people are going to listen to it again.
Definitely.
And people are going to relate to it. And the same with the video. I'm kind of sick of seeing all these 4K polished, shiny videos.
4K don't work. I don't think 4K would ever be.
No one wants to see the lines on your face.
Yeah.
I know, I'm joking. That's what I want to show. I want to show the lines on your face. But no, I think taking a step back, and I don't really have much of a fuss to go into a studio and get this clean sound. I'd rather just get the songs right and just have them audible, and then put them to some
Well, the clean sound is I don't know. Most people's favorite experience of Nirvana is unplugged. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
I think that's kind of a real thing that people to me, unplugged is the cleanest thing they've ever done.
Right. Yeah.
Because the authenticity is clean, or something like that.
Definitely.
The energy and the emotions are clean.
Yeah.
And that's very important.
No, for sure. I think that's.
There was a lot of bands kind of regretted the clean sound like that. Even say the Beatles said nothing ever sounded like Hamburg.
Yeah. Right.
When they were really rocking it out.
That's class. Yeah.
And they do regret
but that's what you do for a record label. A record label won't take you unless you have a clean sound,
Of course,
But
for
that's
the radio.
Really interesting thing about the Beatles that I read is that I haven't seen that documentary yet, actually.
I haven't either.
No, I heard it's amazing.
I can't wait to.
But they said they played more gigs, I think it was in 2 years in Hamburg in the same club than they ever played as a band. The Beatles,
everywhere else,
everywhere, for the whole world, because they were playing every night and they were just sleeping in the back of that.
Were they playing twice?
Sometimes twice in a day.
What was that about? They were just hired by.
They were hired
club.
by the something Star Club or something, wasn't it? Hamburg.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And they just literally people would go in same in the Cavern in Liverpool. People go in at lunchtime.
Like they were the house band.
Yeah, exactly.
Over and over again, and they were on amphetamines to keep themselves awake. And
Jesus.
But they just they played from whatever. They do a daytime show and then they do a nighttime show. But the nighttime show could go on for 4 or 5 hours. They just wouldn't stop playing, and then they'd sleep in the back of the venue, on the floor sometimes. And just they did that for 2 years, and they played so much.
That was before they were big.
That was before they were big. They were probably 17, 18, and
Pete Best was on drums. There was no Ringo back then.
Oh yeah,
right. No way.
Yeah.
But they said they played more in that time.
Pete Best did all that.
Pete. Yeah.
Pete, was it?
Yeah, he was there, and he was there with them when they came back from Hamburg, when they recorded their first
I didn't know
they
that.
recorded Love Me Do, and
I didn't know that at all.
Pete Best was on drums, and then he just dropped him.
People just sort of always say that he was there before they even. I didn't know if he did 2 years.
They had got the record deal when he was still with them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, he did.
Then they got Ringo. Ringo. He just appeared out of the gutter.
That's a right good accent. You could do it, yeah. God, yeah. Will we finish up now on that? On what? On that?
On Ringo being in the gutter.
Yeah, and Ringo being in the gutter. Yeah.
We should invite Pete Best onto the podcast.
Pete Best, yeah.
And whoever's left from the Beatles, get Paul on.
Yeah.
Paul's invited.
Paul. John Lennon's not really dead.
Is he not?
No.
He actually lives in Thurles.
Yeah, him and Tupac.
Somewhere. And Tupac, Bob Marley.
They live in Thurles.
They're renting a gaff down the road.
Yeah.
Smoking up every day.
Is there anywhere people, because you don't have stuff, I won't promote the stuff.
Thank you.
That I love. I won't do that.
Thank you.
Even though I like it. But I know. But with people, you're on Instagram, so when you do release stuff, people can go to your Instagram. Ash, what's your username?
And we can put it down in the comments.
In the description. And go follow Keith so you can enjoy his stuff when he releases it. And yeah, it'd be good.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, Instagram is the only social media I use now. Like I put clips up there and So I don't have anything to promote now, like songs, but if you stick around, give me a month and I'll have 2 tracks out and we'll be going from there. Yeah.
So sound for coming. You're an amazing human being. Thank you for existing. This challenge, your life can be challenging sometimes. Thanks for coming and participating.
No, thank you so much.
Thing we call life.
In this thing we call life, yeah. No, thank you so much for having me.
And thanks to all of you for existing. It takes a lot to exist sometimes. So thank you and thanks for coming and watching and we'll see you next week.
Yeah,
bye. And thanks lads for existing too.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Good luck. Bye.
Taste of strawberry medicine as it runs down my neck. I feel it draw me in, and when it settles on my mind, just know you'll find me there inside.